All right, welcome to a new episode of Mazecast. We've got Beals and Alex here with me tonight. Gaming night couldn't make it. He was busy babysitting his niece and nephew, gaming morning and gaming afternoon. Um, we're going to be discussing Room 16 tonight. I don't know how long it's going to last. Alex is going to start us out. He promises he has dead bang winners, solutions out the ass for this room. At least 10, he said. He's gonna 5-star tonight himself. I don't know how he's gonna do it. I can't figure anything out in this room, but he's given us the SP guarantee.
That's right, the SP guarantee or your money back. All right, so I'm going to try and do a screen share without any further ado. Vince is actually joking. I only have one good one, and it's not really new.
Uh-oh. That was there's a frozen image of your face.
Oh no.
And no sound.
Oh, he's probably long gone by now. He's probably way into the solution. He's probably on solution 8 or 9 by now.
By the time he comes back, yeah, he will have said all of his great solutions, and we're not going to be able to hear them.
Yeah.
So you have to tune in next week, and we'll share with you all the great solutions to Room 16.
We could just do get his voiceover and do like an animation of his face or something.
No, I don't know what's going on with Alex. While he's gone, though, we mentioned just seconds before going on the air that there was a lot of stuff that happened with Maze this week, and
Well, tell me, it's all for time.
Well, I can't remember. Did you see the first set of clues that came out for Room 45?
Oh yeah, we discussed that last week, didn't we?
Oh, did we? Yeah, that's right, we did. So that's not new. What am I talking about? But did we know last week that Gentile has sent an email to Manson, and Manson the usual solutions? Did we discuss that?
I don't think that we discussed that. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Well, just like all the solutions associated with the contest. Manson said, yes, that's what it is, which seems superfluous because it seems so obvious once we've got the publisher letter saying, what house we'll all live in. Like Atlas, you bear it upon your shoulders, and the Earth, world, globe.
Right.
But Gentile still needed a confirmation, and it kind of seemed like some other people did too, which didn't make any sense to me. It seemed like we've got this letter from the publisher telling you these are the solutions. That should have been the end of the discussion, but Gentile sent an email to Manson. Manson was nice enough to confirm, yes, the wording is correct on all that stuff. That's the way it's supposed to be. It's good. He did note that there is also an alternative solution to the riddle of the maze. That he's not sure
Gentile
whether
or Manson?
or not. What's that?
Gentile or Manson came up with a second solution?
Manson said there's another solution in addition to Earth, world, or globe. Presumably that answers the question and goes along with the Atlas clue.
Well, no. Remember, you said Atlas was carrying the celestial sphere on his shoulder, so maybe it's just as simple as that, rather than the world.
It could be like the heavens, and the idea that that's the house that everyone will live in if they, in a religious sense, I guess, if everyone dies, and they'll eventually live in the heavens. And yeah, Atlas bore the heavens on his shoulders.
The House of Asterion.
It's a very Manson-y solution just because it has that religious element to it, but I don't know.
So can I get a clarification on this? So Manson confirmed that there is an alternate valid solution, but it's not that somebody guessed it and he confirmed that.
Correct.
Just that he gave the idea. Oh. Well, I kind of like your mind idea.
Yeah, he specifically said that would work, but that wasn't what he was thinking of.
Fair enough. I kind of liked it because of the whole bear it on your shoulders thing.
Yeah, and that wasn't my solution, though. I can't remember who came up with it. I think it was back on the John Bailey site. Someone came up with it. Maybe not. But anyway, Alex is back, or is he gone again?
No, well, he's...
No, I'm here. I don't know why I cut out, and I have no idea when I cut out, because you guys went silent, and I just kept babbling on, so I didn't notice that I was gone.
Well, you disappeared basically after your first word.
Oh, okay. So I'll screen
We,
share.
we got nothing, so please go ahead.
Yeah, it's like a repeat of Room 24.
Yeah.
People just disappear. Okay, so let me just pull this bad boy up. All right, so can you guys see it?
I can see me again.
Are you
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, so there's the 7 I was talking about. Well,
Oh, hold on a second.
yeah.
Because all we're seeing on the screen is
Our own faces again. Our own beautiful
Yeah.
faces.
In that
we're
case,
seeing the window that the chat is in the screen share.
got it. I'm a great web guy, huh? I can't even operate my own computer.
There
You
we
guys
go.
see that?
Yeah, now we're looking at it.
Yeah. Okay, so this is basically just an upside down 7 in quite an ornate font, if you ask me. There was really no reason for Manson to put the step on the frame of whatever that contraption is, so I'm pretty confident that that's a hidden 7 in the similar vein as the hidden 17 in room 29. And that was really, I know that's not a new one. I just wanted to point it out first because it jumped out at me more the last time I looked at this page from last times I looked at it because we were so caught up in who Orson was, who, for the gentle viewers, I'll explain is the dude with the beard on the wall. He's from a story called Orson and Valentine, which is a old Flemish folk story about two brothers who were separated at birth, and Valentine became a sort of lord slash like warrior type knight, and then Orson was raised by wolves or bears or something in the forest, and he turned into this sort of wild man with an axe and what looks like a crown of leaves, or maybe I don't know, something like that, mistletoe. He looks sort of Christmassy. He looks sort of like an older version of Father Christmas, which is who I originally thought he was. The painting that Manson has sort of done a pastiche of is by the artist Peter Bruegel, actually, as the Dutch call him, the Elder. He was around the 14 or 1500s. That version of the painting, Orson is wearing shoes, and this one he's barefoot. So you guys can, anybody who wants to Google that, just Google Peter Bruegel the Elder, Orson and Valentine, and you'll see him pop up. What else can I mention here? Vince, I forget the name of the jester head. It's got a specific name, right?
Marote. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing
Yeah,
that.
I got nothing on that. Anyway, yeah, you guys can talk if you want.
Yeah, as far as the 7s go, if you look on the Abyss, there are supposedly 3. Well, unless you count these two as both. Unless you count these two separately, which I'm not. There are 3 supposed concealed 7s in this room, but this one that you spotted in the machine is by far the only one that I like. I think the other 2 are extremely poor. But this one has...
I jokingly made a picture on our Google chat of like 7s everywhere in this room because they do, appear quite a lot. Like in the trap door, the fact that there's what looks like a cane holding it up, that cane could be construed as a thing through the 7, and just all the angles of a lot of the stuff in the room, like the party hat on top of that sensor has sort of a 7 shape to it. You got Orson's leg, the sort of angle of the leg and the top of his tunic looks like
this is the angle of his arm at his side, but I just hate all of that. This you've got right here the only 7 that I like in the room.
I'm not crazy about the others either. Like you, I like that 7. Again, like a lot of rooms, you can't just go on one thing. You got to have a lot of at least a few qualifiers. But yeah, we don't know too much about this room. This is sort of something I noticed earlier on today. Is everybody's wearing a hat in this room to an extent, like even the censor?
Yeah.
Maybe there's something to that.
That's interesting.
You noticed today. That's been mentioned a million times.
Thank Vince. I was trying to make it interesting, but...
Oh, okay. We just noticed it today. Look at all those hats.
Well, they don't know that. Anyway.
The jester's wearing a hat, and Orson's wearing, looks like a laurels or some kind of leaf. And then there's the party hat looking thing on the thing. There's a crown, and Top Hat's back there wearing his top hat. Really, it's just the contraption there that doesn't fit with the hat theme. I don't know what else to say about this room because we really don't know much of anything about it. I
Well,
mean,
it's part of the triangle in the map.
yeah, oh yeah, I guess we can just talk about the room in general. I mean, we're in the loop here. This is actually one of the rooms that is farthest from room one. That you've got the about as long a journey to get back to room one, I think, as you can get from 16 and 36, which are in sort of a triangle with room 7. Um, they're part of a circle of rooms that seem to have information relating to the identity of the guide, which I think we'll probably get more into once we hit the text of this room. But it kind of seems like the rooms in this area all are, have something to do with who the guide is. Um,
You know, have we ever considered the possibility that that line about himself is a room clue rather than identity of the guide? You think that's a possibility?
what's that? I missed what you said.
Okay, so what he says about himself, what could be thought of as talking about the guide, you don't think there's any possibility that it's a reference to something in the room instead?
Well, I mean, it's a reference to something in the room too. Here, do you want to go ahead and go to the text, or?
Yeah, I can start reading it if you want.
Yeah, the only thing I would say about the picture before we hit the text is there's just something sort of intuitive about, well, the jester's hat. The jester leans right on the 36th door and is looking down at the door. The hat kind of overlaps with the frame, and then you've got the crown and the door to 7. It's not the kind of thing I'm proud to suggest because it's so lame, but it does kind of seem as though the fool is being associated with room 36, and then the crown, which I guess would sort of have some kind of positive connotations, is associated with the door to 7. I don't.
Yeah, I had a close acquaintance who was looking at the room right before we started this, and he drew the exact same conclusion. So even if it's a little lame, it's accessible, and yeah, I think there could be something thematic going on there.
I think there might be more stuff like that than we care to admit sometimes, because there's stuff like the devils that are. I think the devils are always reliably anti-indicators. I mean, when you see them in room 26, they're pointing to the wrong doors. When you see a devil over the door in 32, that's over the wrong door. I guess those are pretty much the only devils in there to give you warnings. There's a devilish face in room 43, but at that point you're already in the trap, so it doesn't really make a difference. Mm-hmm. But I think there's probably more stuff like that than we put much thought into about just things that are sort of inherently repellent or attractive, meant to indicate something about the doors. But that's all I've got. You can go ahead and start reading, Alex. If you...
A stone chamber, which reminded me of my old neighbors. Of course, that was a long time ago now. But would you believe their descendants are still telling stories about me and my family to their children? I guess I'll just do the last one. Even if most of the stories are lies and exaggerations, it is an immortality of a sort.
Okay, so that seems huge, right? That seems like it's all about the guide's really telling us something about himself there. Now the question then, I guess, or the questions, or why does this chamber remind him of these people, and who were his old neighbors? The question I get from this is that the guide is not human, and he's talking about humans when he's talking about his old neighbors. He may be talking about people in general, but I mean that's the impression I get, that he's talking about how humans and their descendants are still telling stories about him and his family. Does anyone else get that feeling from it?
Yeah, well, Beals, you got anything to say?
Can you square the family reference with the Minotaur?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say it's sort of reminiscent of the way Orson was brought up by animals. It could be like it reminds the Minotaur of himself, because he's a half beast and he was maybe brought up by in a weird fashion, like some kind of you know, pagan.
Well, that's like reminding him of himself, not his neighbors. Wait, Bill, you say can you square the family?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering how the word family relates to the Minotaur theory, like, and descendants especially.
Well, but it's not the guide's descendants. He talks about his family,
Their
but not.
Excuse me, you're right. I misread it.
So yeah, we're just Minotaur didn't have any offspring, but King Minos and Pasiphae, and I guess their ancestors would all be part of his family. And the Minotaur does have a pretty interesting family because um, Minos was distantly descended from Zeus, and I think the bull that he was sired by was created by Poseidon. You could kind of see Poseidon as being one of his ancestors. And I forget who Pasiphae is, but I think Pasiphae has some sort of divine lineage too. Like if you trace it back, the Minotaur has a lot of interesting branches coming together. I think that fits very well with the Minotaur actually.
Fair enough.
About people telling stories about the Minotaur and his family. As far as now, why does this room in particular remind him of his old neighbors? I think it has to be something more specific than just reminds him of people, obviously. But I think when he talks about their descendants, I think he's talking about humanity in general. I think the common suggestion here is, well, there's a complicated-looking machine in there, so that could remind him of Daedalus, who created the labyrinth, and I guess could be considered a neighbor of the Minotaur. He certainly lived in the area.
The crown could remind him of Minos.
Yeah, or any of the royalty there.
Yeah.
Although, since he talks about it reminds him of his neighbors and they and their descendants are still telling stories about his family, it kind of suggests that he's not including his family within his old neighbors, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, but you know what? Minos isn't really his father, though, either.
Well, not biologically. No.
Yeah. So that's not off the table.
No.
One thing I floated is that with the Marote, you've got like the jester. It's this jester's head way up on a stick. I've suggested that might be like Icarus, that he's a fool who went too high.
I like it.
Oh, come on.
Oh, you
That's
don't like
fun.
Whatever, it's a funny one.
So Orson is Theseus, or what?
I don't know. Terrible. I mean, Orson was Greek. I don't think the story was was primarily told by Greeks, and it was repeated in a lot of different forms. But the brothers were Greek, I believe, so it could be as simple as him being a Greek, I guess. Greeks wouldn't be, directly adjacent to the labyrinth, but in terms of the Minotaur living on the Isle of Crete, I guess Greece would be sort of a neighbor of Crete. I don't know what to do with that pot there, man.
Yeah.
Nobody seems to have a good explanation of what that thing is. The best guess we could find from looking at some old stuff is that it's kind of like a sensor, in the sense of like something that they put good smelling things in that burn, and then
That's what I thought.
walks through.
Yeah.
Why a party hat though, with holes in it? Like I know it's supposed to be a ventilator, but why shape it like a party hat? He could have just made it round or something.
I've seen lids like that on old sensors where they've got the bulb on the top because that's what you grab it by when you pull it off. And I don't know why it's pointed exactly like that, but I don't know whether it's really supposed to be a party hat or if this is just something that was done. This could be as simple as Manson just had some old book that showed an old sensor, and this is what it looked like, so he drew it that way. It's hard to avoid the idea that it looks like a party hat.
Yeah.
Although those aren't like polka dots on it; those are holes.
There's actually 7 holes that you can see completely on the front. There's
Whoa!
3 additional ones on the side.
New solution coming to you right here on Mazecast. 7 holes in a party hat.
Not 36.
Closed. Yeah, you just try to find 36 or something. The smaller number is always right. That's the lesson you learn in Maze.
Yep.
It's always easier to count a smaller number than a bigger number. Oh, I really derailed you there because we were. Oh, but oh no, we're still talking about neighbors and stuff. Top Hat himself could remind him of his old neighbors in the sense of just being a person who's extremely frightened of him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, he's not even in the room, so I guess maybe that's a bit of a stretch to say that the room reminds him of his old neighbors because someone outside the room is running away from him.
Right.
But it is we mentioned. I mentioned on the Abyss before the short story House of Asterion, which is a Borges story narrated by the Minotaur about the labyrinth and the Minotaur's life. It does describe the Minotaur leaving the labyrinth at some point in the way that people fled in fear from him, which kind of reminded me of this. We haven't talked any about the House of Asterion in here, but there are actually a lot of parallels between the Minotaur as described in House of Asterion and certain aspects of the Guide and Maze in general. Anything else to say about that stuff?
Well, you better have something because no, Alex is back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whew.
Even if most of the stories are lies. Oh, I already read that. As I passed in front of an open doorway, a figure crossing the hallway outside saw me and immediately ran off. Who was that? They asked. Another visitor, to be sure. Why did he run away? You probably scared him, I said, and they apparently believed me.
So this is the quintessential appearance of Top Hat. Now we've got in room 7 a picture of a guy in a top hat looking fearful over the corner, and we've got the top hat in 18 and the top-hatted figure in 3 and a top-hatted figure in 10. We've got a top hat on the coat rack in 42.
Don't forget 34, where he's walking out the door.
Well, I don't think that Mr. No is Top Hat, but there is a gentleman walking through the door in room 34 that I guess is wearing a suit and a hat, but I don't think it looks like a top hat. But maybe it is. It's kind of hidden in the shadows. I don't know.
You mean Mr. Yes? Which, by the way...
Oh, yes.
Which is an anagram of mysteries, by the way.
Mysteries?
That's all for the maze right there.
It's another solution coming right at you.
Uh-huh.
Or yes, Mr. Yes. I don't know why I call him Mr. No. Yeah, Mr. Yes.
Because he is Mr. No. You don't go through that door.
I think we've mentioned Top Hat almost throughout the entirety of this series. We've speculated that he's got to be somebody important, but we haven't really come up with anything to say about him, anything he possibly means. The Top Hat doesn't really seem to indicate much of anything room for room. It doesn't. It's not like it always sits by the right door or something like that. So I don't know. The mystery of Top Hat continues. We just have one line left there.
With few regrets on my part, we left for...
What a weird line, right?
Yeah. Few regrets.
It's few regrets. What the hell is he talking about? It's one of those lines that just stands out. And it's about something else because it doesn't make a lot of literal sense in the room.
Well, I guess my interpretation would be they apparently believed me. When he says they apparently believed me, it's because they apparently believed him that they were the ones who scared Top Hat away. when in fact he scared Top Hat away, and he has few regrets about that.
Or lying to them. He doesn't regret lying to them.
No,
about
sure.
it. Oh, is that what
Yeah,
you meant?
I guess I always interpreted it as he didn't regret leaving the room. Like there was.
Well, still, yeah. Few regrets.
Oh, no. You know why? This just reminds me. I had this theory. Because the word trap comes up there, part trap, and then you also have a trap door. And then you also have the triangles pointing downwards in the centerpiece of each archway. My interpretation of that is that the trap door actually goes back to either 4 or 32, which are the two unmarked rooms that the two unmarked doors go to, which are better rooms than this one. So it's maybe that's a clue to go back through the trap door to either, and it really doesn't matter which of the two rooms it could go to, 4 or 32, because they're both better and on the path. Well, 32 is not, but it's an exception. But yeah, maybe that's a possibility.
I think the trap door probably is meant to connect to 32 because 32 has the stairway going down that leads to 16. So it's kind of like you go down the stairway and then you come up this trap door to get into 16. That's something that White Raven has indicated that suggested that's one of the clues there are on the clues that you've gotten off the right path and you need to get back onto it. So it could be that those kinds of remarks are just meant as an indicator to you that you've gone astray. The thing is, though, it's not like he has few regrets about coming to this room from where they were, but about leaving this room. So I don't know. But I can see what you're saying. He certainly would be pleased to have led them to the wrong place.
Yeah.
Does anyone have anything 16?
Yeah, I was always hopeful that there was a nut or a bolt that would fit the wrench in 21, but alas, it is not so.
I don't think there's really going to be those kinds of...
This is like an IKEA machine. It's got all the tools you need already built into it. I can see a pin through the thing in the middle there that you can twist there really easily. Did Manson have a technical background? Was he sort of trained in like the arts of engineering or something along those lines? Seems to. He's a really woodsy person.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about his background, but I mean, I've seen websites about or showing his use of old printing press type things and working with some what looks like kind of complicated and old machinery. So I would guess. I mean, the fact that he does stuff with woodcuts suggests he's kind of interested in old, outdated means of creation. I would guess he's got some familiarity with mechanical contrivances. It looks to me, we talked about this before, I mean, it looks to me like it's some kind of grinder. I don't know why it has so many gears and things. But we found pictures of sanders that were not too different from this thing. It's got
Do you think he's suggesting that you sand down the Merit? Because that's a pretty long handle.
I mean, it could be. It's right there next to it. They actually overlap a little bit.
I don't know. Or maybe it's so the Minotaur can trim his horns down on the sandpaper. Get them real sharp, like in that Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Oh, this goddamn room. I think for some reason this didn't stick out to us initially as the room that we were going to have no clue about. Like, for some reason 4 and 8 stuck out as, oh, those rooms are going to be impossible. But not this one. But this one...
This one's hard, man. I don't think we like, apart from the pathetic things that we came up with today. And we ain't got nothing on the top hat guy. I mean, I still think that there's something to do with the guide there, because he keeps repeating. But I don't know. Who knows?
I'm almost thinking that there's not anymore. The Top Hat's not really anything. It's just one more thing fleeing from the guide. I think we have the cat running away from the guide. I think he's running away. I now think that in 15, the rabbit is running away from the guide.
But
I,
also keep in mind that people can exist at the same time in two places, like in 10 and is it 41 or 30? 30.
37.
Yeah, where they hear each other. So maybe this is the guy that's sort of like Marty McFly. He can't see himself in the future, or he explodes. So like he's himself.
I thought that before too. The Top Hat might be the guide himself.
But yeah, that line doesn't really make sense because why would he be afraid of himself?
Well, we don't know that he's afraid. It just says that
He runs away at least.
saw me and immediately ran off.
Yeah.
And the guide says it's because they scared him, but it's almost certainly not true.
Oh, so are you suggesting that the guide didn't scare him either? It's for a completely different reason other than being afraid?
Well, I don't know, but I'm saying if it wouldn't be impossible that this is the guide seeing himself, and the guy's not really scared at all. Top Hat might not be scared. I'm not saying I think that's correct. I don't know. Just saying it's possible.
I think you mentioned this on the Abyss a while ago, but I'll jog your memory. You said that Top Hat is telling the truth and Orson's not because Orson's walking towards 36 and the Top Hat is, well, out of perspective, but he's still walking towards 7 in a manner of speaking.
I think I don't think it's written down as an accepted clue anymore. Let me take a look. I think it used to be something about like, hey, Top Hat's walking towards the right door, and like that was accepted as a solution. I think I could be wrong.
I mean, somebody probably made a 7 out of Top Hat's leg at some point. No, I don't see why you wouldn't. I don't see why you would know to trust Top Hat and not Orson.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it looks to me like Orson's looking at the door to 36. Does it look like that to anyone else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jester is definitely looking at the door to 36. Has those 3 tassels hanging down. Nothing. I got nothing to say. Are we done here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Done.
All right.
No regret. Or few, at least.
We're going to leave this room with no regrets. We're looking forward to the next room that we know absolutely nothing about. We'll see you next time on Mazecast.